Have you ever wondered what really happens after we take our last breath? Is it just darkness, or is there something more, something unseen, mysterious, and powerful? For thousands of years, Tibetan monks have believed in something beyond our physical world. One of their most sacred and mysterious texts is called the Bardo Thodol, known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. But it's not a scary book about ghosts. Instead, it's a spiritual guidebook meant to help the soul on its journey after death. This ancient text doesn't just speak to monks or mystics. It speaks to all of us, because death is something we all must face. And maybe, just maybe, it holds the key to understanding life itself. In this journey, we'll explore what the Bardo Thodol teaches about the mind, death, and rebirth, and how preparing for the end might actually help us live more deeply, fully, and fearlessly. The Tibetan Book of the Dead wasn't written by an ordinary monk. It was created by Padmasambhava, a legendary master from 8th century India. He wasn't just a teacher, he was a spiritual force. Known in Tibet as Guru Rinpoche, meaning precious master, Padmasambhava changed the spiritual landscape of an entire nation. Tibet at the time was a land of ancient rituals, shamanic practices, and the Bon religion, rich, chaotic, and deeply rooted. Padmasambhava didn't try to destroy this tradition. Instead, he embraced it, integrated it, and transformed it. Using deep meditation, mystical rituals, and compassion, he tamed the spiritual energies of Tibet and introduced Buddhist teachings that honored the soul's journey, even after death. The Bardo Thodol wasn't meant only for the living. It was a lifeline for the dead, a final chance at freedom. Padmasambhava believed that even after death, the soul could awaken. That's why he gave the world this sacred map. Padmasambhava didn't see death as an ending. He saw it as a rare and powerful opportunity. When the body dies, the mind becomes free, free from distraction, free from illusion. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. The soul can finally see the truth. But most of us aren't ready. When we die, fear clouds our vision. We cling to what we know. We get lost. Padmasambhava's mission was to stop that from happening. He created the Bardo Thodol as a guide, a sacred text that could be read to the dying or studied during life. It shows the mind what to expect after death, so we're not lost when that moment comes. His message was simple but powerful. It's never too late. Even in our final breath, there's a doorway to liberation. He believed that death could be our greatest teacher, if only we're willing to listen. In Tibetan teachings, there are 3 bardos, or in-between states that the soul experiences after death. The first is the Chikai Bardo, the moment of death itself. This is when the body begins to dissolve and consciousness is set free. In this moment, the soul sees something extraordinary, a bright, clear, radiant light. This is the clear light, the purest form of mind itself, limitless, peaceful, and beyond fear. For the awakened, this is liberation. Recognizing that this light is part of you leads to instant freedom from rebirth. But for those not prepared, this brilliance can feel terrifying. They mistake it for danger, and the chance is lost. The Chikai Bardo is like a test, one that doesn't care about religion or belief. It's about presence. If you can meet the light with peace instead of fear, you're free. But if you retreat, the journey continues into deeper illusions. The second state is the Chonyid Bardo, the Bardo of visions. Now, the soul has no body, no physical senses, only raw consciousness. And in this state, the mind shows everything it's ever feared, desired, or suppressed. These are not random dreams. They're projections of your own mind. You might see peaceful visions, beings of light, Buddhas, or glowing deities. They represent the good within you, your higher self. But if you don't recognize them, you miss the message. Then come the wrathful visions, terrifying figures that seem like demons. But even they are parts of you. Anger, fear, desires you couldn't control. These aren't punishments, they're mirrors. The Chonyid Bardo is powerful because what you see depends on who you are inside. If you understand the visions are just your mind playing out, you can find peace. But if you believe they're real, the fear grows, and you remain trapped in illusion. In the Chonyid Bardo, everything is amplified. Because there's no body, the mind operates in full force. Emotions, memories, fears, they come alive with intense clarity. Think of it like a dream, but one you can't wake up from. Only it's more vivid, more real, and deeply emotional. And yet, it's still just the mind. These visions aren't punishments, they're chances. Every peaceful or scary image is a lesson. Each one shows an aspect of yourself that's asking to be understood. If the soul can stay calm and remember that all these visions are just thoughts with no real power, it can move toward enlightenment. The trick is to focus on the clear light, the radiant truth behind all these mental projections. It's like the sun behind storm clouds. The visions pass, the light remains, and if you stay centered, that light will guide you home. The greatest danger in the Chonyid Bardo isn't the visions, it's fear and attachment. When the soul is afraid of the wrathful images or clings to the peaceful ones, it loses balance. Fear builds walls, attachment builds chains, and both keep the soul trapped in samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. But there's a secret here. None of it is real. This idea is called shunyata in Buddhism, emptiness. It means all things, even terrifying visions, are just passing expressions with no true substance. If the soul remembers this, if it can observe without reacting, it can find peace even in the storm. That's why spiritual practice in life matters so much. Meditation trains the mind to witness without clinging or fearing. The Chonyid Bardo is like a final test. Pass it and you're free. Fail it and the cycle begins again. Now we enter the third Bardo, the Sidpa Bardo, the stage of rebirth. At this point, the soul is full of karmic energy. All its thoughts, actions, and intentions pull it toward new life. It doesn't happen by choice. It happens like gravity. Whatever is unresolved pulls the soul back into the cycle. In this Bardo, the soul sees visions of parents, symbolic couples, and is instinctively drawn to a new body. The force of karma is strong. Fear, desire, and longing push the soul to be reborn. But there's still one final chance. If the soul can remain detached and recognize these visions as illusions, it can stop the cycle and return to the clear light. The Sidpa Bardo is a storm, a pull, a vortex. But if the mind has trained in life to stay clear and centered, it might just escape rebirth and reach true freedom. In the Sidpa Bardo, the soul isn't thinking clearly. It's pulled by deep instincts and leftover emotions from its previous life. It doesn't choose its next body the way we choose clothes. Instead, the soul is magnetically drawn to situations that match its inner state, its unresolved pain, desires, or fears. If the soul carries anger, it may be reborn in a world full of conflict. If it carries deep longing, it may return into a life of searching. This is the silent work of karma, not as punishment, but as reflection. But what if the soul pauses? What if it sees this moment for what it is? That's the last chance, the final gate before another cycle begins. The Bardo Thodol urges the soul to stay aware, to observe without desire. Because if we can avoid grasping for life out of fear, we might escape the wheel altogether and awaken into freedom. In the Sidpa Bardo, visions begin to shift. The soul sees symbolic images of birth, like couples in union or warm, inviting lights. These aren't real. They're mental representations of rebirth. The soul, filled with leftover desires, starts to feel pulled toward these images. It's almost instinctual, a pull toward being someone again, toward form, identity, a new story. But here's where clarity matters most. The Bardo Thodol teaches, if the soul can recognize this attraction as a trap of illusion, it can resist. It can stay in the space between. If awareness holds, liberation is still possible. In this final stretch, calmness is power. Detachment is freedom. The soul that remembers to observe instead of react has the greatest chance of breaking free from the cycle of rebirth. The urge to exist is strong in the Sidpa Bardo. It's like a storm inside the soul. The soul wants to be again, to feel, to live, to escape the in-between. But this very urge is what keeps it trapped. The stronger the desire, the faster it falls into a new life. Rebirth doesn't happen through clear choice. It happens through impulse. Whatever emotions dominate the soul's state, fear, lust, guilt, those guide where it lands next. And yet, this doesn't have to be a curse. Buddhism teaches that each life is a chance, an opportunity to learn, evolve, and reach freedom. But without awareness, most fall into old patterns, reliving the same pain again and again. The Bardo Thodol urges us, prepare in life, so in death you can pause. If you want true freedom, you must train the mind to see beyond illusion, even in the storm. The Bardo Thodol makes one thing very clear. Preparation starts in life. It's not about waiting for death to suddenly bring enlightenment. It's about training the mind now through meditation, reflection, and awareness. When we meditate, we learn to witness without reacting. When we reflect on death, we strip away the fear. These practices build the mental strength needed for the bardos. Without them, the soul is like a leaf in the wind, blown around by every thought and fear. But with awareness, the soul becomes steady like a mountain. In life, we run from discomfort, but in death, there's nowhere to hide. The only way through is inner clarity. Padmasambhava didn't offer fear. He offered hope that with practice, we can meet death like a master, not a victim. And in doing so, we don't just prepare for the end. We learn to truly live. The Sidpa Bardo teaches a simple but life-changing truth. Our lives reflect our minds. Wherever our soul is, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that's what shapes our rebirth. If we hold on to pain, we attract more pain. If we carry peace, we invite peace. This is not about reward or punishment. It's about resonance. Karma isn't a judge, it's a mirror. So every fear, every desire, every grudge becomes part of our soul's blueprint. When death comes, these energies lead the way. But this also means we're not powerless. Every act of self-awareness, every moment of stillness, every time we let go, that shapes our path forward. The Sidpa Bardo reminds us that the journey doesn't start after death. It's already happening, right now. Every thought is a seed, every emotion a direction. The urge to be born again is almost impossible to resist. It feels natural, comforting even. But Tibetan teachings say that this is the trap. Most souls don't see it. They think rebirth is a fresh start. But really, it's just the same wheel turning over and over. New faces, same patterns. That's why detachment is so important. If you can look at those final visions, the new body, the new life, and simply let them pass, you've already won. This doesn't mean rejecting life. It means choosing clarity over craving, choosing stillness over impulse. The Sidpa Bardo isn't your enemy, it's your last chance. If you can meet it with wisdom, you step off the wheel forever. So what is freedom, really? According to the Bardo Thodol, it's not about escaping life. It's about escaping illusion. When you understand that everything, your name, your body, your fears, your dreams, is temporary, you stop being controlled by them. Freedom comes when you remember the clear light, that eternal awareness beyond all form. It's always there, behind the chaos, behind the stories. But to find it, you must practice. You must learn to see clearly, to stay centered when everything around you dissolves. True freedom isn't given, it's claimed, moment by moment, by a mind that sees through the fog. And that journey doesn't begin after death. It begins with every breath you take right now. The Bardo Thodol is more than a sacred text. It's a mirror for your mind, your fears, and your destiny. It doesn't ask you to believe. It asks you to look, to listen, to prepare. Because death isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a choice. Repeat or awaken. This ancient guide invites us to live now with the awareness we'll need later, to stop running from death and start learning from it. As spiritual teacher Ram Dass once said, "When you die, there's only one question that matters. How much did you love?" So, reflect. Are you ready to let go of what you think you are? Are you ready to wake up? Maybe in preparing for death, we finally learn how to live.